We talked to Julie Zimmerman, former creative director for Universal Studios Florida, on episode 320 of the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I am your host this week. I am Lee, and joining me is my good lady wife Tracy.
Hello everyone.
And of course, Darren.
What's up, Internet? Hello.
Chris is still enjoying Universal Orlando and Halloween Horror Nights, I assume, and still probably trying to get Red Oven to deliver pizza to his hotel room. With not much luck, but there we go.
Been a week now, yes.
Very funny.
As you heard just there, we have a very illustrious guest with us today.
We do.
We have, as I said in the intro, former creative director for Universal Studios Florida, Julie Zimmerman. Hey Julie, thanks for joining us on the show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. It's raining in Orlando. Just thought I'd let you know.
Well, it's because it's trying to make us Brits feel a little bit more at home.
Yeah. It's a good day to go to theme parks when it rains, though.
Yes.
Because a lot of people will cancel or just leave when it rains. So I've always said to people, go when it rains. And then you can get into everything a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
Completely agree. So if you recognise Julie's voice, this is not the first time she has been heard on this show. This is the first time we've actually been able to speak to her, but she was part of our tribute to Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure, which we've actually just realised is a year ago, which is crazy.
Yes, it is.
But we will get to Halloween Horror Nights later, because that's something we really want to delve into. But for first, Julie, our listeners want to know, what's your history in theme parks before working at Universal Orlando, and how did you land that job?
Well, I was born in a theme park because Sandusky, Ohio, where I was born, has a theme park called Cedar Point.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And but I ended up at Universal. I lived in Los Angeles, started when I was 20, and I had worked in various television, and I was a stand-up comedian, believe it or not.
Oh.
But I had moved to Northern California because I needed a break from LA, and I saw an ad in a San Francisco Chronicle for entertainment professionals. I applied, and they called me. I went down, and 2 weeks later, I started on Universal Studios Florida as part of the planning and development team.
Wow.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's
excellent. Yeah.
a jump step in, isn't it? From like not really anything into, there you go, there's a theme park.
Right. And my boss, Peter Alexander, used to live in Marin County in Northern California. And he called me, he said, because he couldn't understand why anybody would leave beautiful Marin to come to Los Angeles. So he was the reason, though, I moved up in, I call it the food chain, because I read everything Peter got. He didn't read scripts. He didn't read any of the information. So I read everything. And then he was so cool because he took me to the creative meetings with him. So I would go and sit with Steven Spielberg and sit with these really great people. So if that's not a way to learn about theme parks, I don't know what is.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I bet.
Definitely.
I received Christmas presents from Spielberg for 2 years. I really did. And my friends were in planning and development. When they saw this, they were out of their minds.
I bet.
Yeah, it was really wonderful. Great time in my life.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, being there at the inception of the park must have been an amazing experience. What was it like, and what parameters were you given when you were coming up with the overall theme for the park?
Well, when I started, it was very few people in that department because they were just starting to hire people. The art directors were there, the architects were there, and the model shop was there. So they pretty much knew we're going to do, Kong, Alfred Hitchcock, these different attractions, but they had not hired all the producers. So they're drawing away and doing the whole scope of what Universal Florida is going to look like. And then on the side, the guys are making huge models of everything. And they're also making E.T. for Steven Spielberg of when you walk through the forest. So it was a hub of activity, but the thing about Universal that time was funding, believe it or not, because they had tossed around this for quite a while and they were looking for a partner to help fund it. So in the beginning, we'd be like, okay, I know we're going forward, but we weren't sure exactly what was happening, although it was eventually it started going crazy in there because they were bringing in wonderful art directors, wonderful producers. But in the beginning, it was sort of like, oh gosh, what's going to happen? That's how I felt. I just show up every day and, talk to other people, and then I'd go in the theme park and we go on the movie lots, because we were sort of slow in the beginning, and then it just went bang, and everything started coming together. But Universal had a very hard opening because we weren't ready to open that theme park. And wonderful Jay Stein was kind of the head of it, and he forced opening more or less, and so many of the attractions just didn't work. So it was ugly.
Yeah, I know, Darren, you went, I think, the third year, and you've still never got to ride Confrontation, did you?
Yeah, no, unfortunately, Kong was down every time that we went as a kid. So,
they tore it down. I mean, they basically tore the insides out and rebuilt it. And finally, they woke up. God bless them now, because that was done in Los Angeles. Earthquake had been done in LA as well as Kong, but they didn't have the original people who built it or the producers working on it. So finally, when everything was a disaster, they finally brought in Larry Lester, who was the producer of those attractions, and started working on them. And Earthquake they just threw stuff out because Earthquake was totally a mess. And Jaws, God bless Jaws, was closed for at least 2 years because Jaws was dangerous for people to ride because it wasn't put together. So it was an interesting time. I love being there, especially when you're creating. It was fabulous.
Yes.
And the attractions I worked on did work. And of course they worked. You know that.
Yes.
Yep.
But we had a great producer, great project managers, and great art directors. And they were more or less the shows. They weren't the rides. So it was a little easier for us, I think, than the rides. But the rides they knew they weren't going to work. And here's the secret to Universal. They knew they weren't going to work because the Earthquake train had never gone down the tracks.
Oh, no.
Yeah. No, and so they were praying on opening day that it would work, but of course it couldn't work. And Kong was just very sporadic. So, they had to shut that puppy down because
wow,
people waited for hours, and then it didn't work. And E.T. worked, but E.T. did have problems, and people would get stuck way up there, and then they'd have to bring a ladder in to get them down.
Oh,
interesting.
Yeah. There's crazy stuff. And I worked on the animal show, and we had chimpanzees and all these people. Well, they figured out how to open up the cages.
Oh.
So I would get a phone call, and they'd say, Julie, there's a chimpanzee rolling around the theme park. I'd be like, oh gosh. So many wonderful stories of, the building of this place. I was so blessed to have a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Julie, something I've heard other people talk about, and people have been looking for photographic evidence for quite some time, and I wondered if you could clear it up. So when E.T. originally opened, were there two sets of ride vehicles? Was there the bikes and some sort of UFO ride vehicle as part of that attraction?
Not that I ever knew of. And because I was in the model shop with the beginnings of E.T., personally, I never heard of that. From when I started and what I read with Peter it was always the bike. I know that was always the bike because that was a big thing they wanted was you to be as Elliot was. Mm-hmm. So there were two different, Back to the Future is a whole different story, but I have never heard, nor did I ever see any other ride vehicle but what ended up in the attraction.
You just piqued Darren's interest there.
Yeah.
But see, Spielberg was so specific, you couldn't even go to see E.T. unless you called his office, and then they'd have to set up a screening. It was, so close to his heart. So he watched everything from the beginning. And like I shared with you, he would walk. We built a model that the whole queue line, so he could walk through and be literally right. His eyes were right where the queue line was. So every bit of E.T. was Stevens. So I truly, in the whole time I was there, I never heard of anything but the bike.
Mm.
That makes sense. It's iconic.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you wouldn't expect to ride anything else.
No.
There's people that have rumors about all that as far as, the attractions or how it worked or didn't work. And it's just it's kind of like folklore. The things I know, Alfred Hitchcock was not haunted. Never was haunted. And there's, different things that if you're around there, because I went when I moved from LA, they transported me here, relocated. It was dirt. We couldn't even be in the trailers. They were still clearing out alligators.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was pretty amazing. You could see they were starting to put the rebar up for the big buildings like Kong and starting to build the big ones first. But we got over there. I mean, the Jeeps would get caught in the mud up to the doors, and we'd have to have a crane pull us out. I mean, it was hysterical, to be honest with you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
weird to think about being at a theme park when it literally is nothing.
Yeah. Just
Yeah, but
attractive land.
But it's so amazing to watch it go,
Yeah.
to watch it build up. I had never even been the front gates at Universal. We came in the back, and I had never left or came in to the park by the gates because we were all back there, and we literally live in our attractions and in a trailer. So it was going up, like Kong was going up, Animal Actors Arena was going up. Things were starting to go up around us, and that's really how you had to build it. But once it got going, it went pretty fast. And you watched it, the facades on Hollywood Boulevard started going up, and it started to get, it started to feel like a theme park little by little. But we just, we chomped through the mud, and we were like a little family because we'd all come from LA, and, moving to Florida from LA, all we did was complain. That's all we did was complain. But we have all stayed friends through all these years because it was a little bit of, going into the trenches and,
Yeah.
praying this thing is going to open.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh. Julie. Now,
Yes.
This was your question.
this was
You
well,
had to ask
as
this.
soon as Lee said, "Come on, we need to think of some questions." This is the first thing I needed to know.
Of course.
Right. Was there one particular job or project that you never got to work on that you really wished you had? Kind of like the one that got away.
Well, I wish I could have been on Back to the Future, only on the second half of Back to the Future, not the first one, because one of the project managers from our shows, Michael Esmond, was over there. And I think that would have been a great experience because, the film with Christopher Lloyd but Mike went over there, and I had moved to the entertainment department after a while. So I did work on 50 Goes West and such, but some of those I wasn't on. The Monster Show I would have liked to work on, which is now closed, but some of those would have been fun for me. But by then, after Universal opened, I quickly still was kind of a P&D girl, but I was moving into entertainment, into the special project and special events. So, I had a great time there. I was substitute in Earthquake when they did get things working. I mean, that's how crazy it was then. They say, "Can you go in and be the host?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll go be the host." And it was a riot. It was great. Yeah. It was a great time.
I'm just looking through the stuff that you've worked on there, Julie, actually, and I've just spoken to someone last night, actually, that I assume you would have worked on the retrofit of the Ghostbusters show. Adam Bezark.
Yeah, Adam Bezark took the script over because they had, somewhere through the grapevine, when they were doing the retrofit, Jay Stein, the amazing Jay Stein, again, knowing I work for Peter, asked me if I would look at his script and fine-tune it. And I did do that. And I submitted the script and talked to Jane. But when they turned it over to Landmark Entertainment, which is Bezark's tribe, I was completely out of it. They used a different script, and they gave it to them, and then they did what they wished to do. Because I had Janine in the lobby, and they wanted an interactive program with people from the audience, so he took it over. Yeah, they were, Peter and some of those guys in those days would rather turn it over to someone like Landmark than have us do it. So I started it, went with the franchise theme, and then wrote the whole script. Talked about what the lobby would be like, and then, Landmark came and they went shoop and wrote everything differently. People take, and bless them, they did the original one, and so it made sense to them to go back and fix it. And Gary Goddard was a really close friend of my boss, Peter, so, they would go to them always if there was something they needed to do in a pitch. So, I did what I did, and I'm still proud of it, and I got to hang out with Jay and Tom Williams, and, it was not a bad experience. And, unfortunately, when you have a career in that place or any place, somebody is going to take and say, "I don't want to do that. I want to do mine." And that's life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume you would expect the theme park business to be quite cutthroat, really.
Well, it wasn't in the beginning. It was not. That was I would say, and I'm not there now. I've heard it's different than when I was there, but we were all planning and development that had been in that office, in LA, and we all came down. So together we were pretty cool. We were our little world there, all of us. But you bring in Landmark, who's totally different, and we'll bless them. And if they're talking on the ear, to Peter, he's going to do whatever they said. Yeah. So, like I said, they put Louis Tully in totally different take on it than I would. And that's just life. I have one thought process on creative. He had another one. So we go on. And that's what they did. They went with their script, and their script was in the queue line of Jaws. The original video and such was in there. So they had their mark on different things in there, as they did in Hollywood.
It's quite sad. That's why sometimes that you come into something and put your heart and soul into it, and then end up going a different direction. I can assume it could be quite disheartening at times.
It was for me. It was because a lot of the planning I did when I moved to entertainment was for years ahead. So, John Paul Gertz, you've heard of the amazing John Paul. He and I had done all the research and everything from Mardi Gras. Everything we had planned Mardi Gras, and then they decided when they were coming that we were cut out of the whole thing. So it was like our whole work and such were gone. And even the Barry Kern, who was from Kern is a famous place in Louisiana, makes the floats. He said, "What happened here?" And I said, it's politics. And so you just roll with it. Just like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade was my idea. You just have to go. And you learn that, I think, in creative land, your little herd will stay with you. But once other people come in and, there's just I don't know, it's nepotism too. If someone's a new producer or a new director, they're going to bring in their people. And so regardless of the success you may have, they're going to throw them in there somehow. So, that was tough. That's one of the reasons I finally did resign, because I was like, I'm going to go. But I did.
It's all about your own integrity, isn't it?
I can understand that.
Yeah, and I will share one other thing to you. Not only do we have the Me movement going on, but at the time I was there during transition, there were female producers. Jane did E.T., Jane did Ghostbusters, Molly Rose did the Hanna-Barbarian thing. I call it Hanna the Barbarian. They would not give them a different title or any pay raise when we were moving into the other parts of development. So they all left.
Right.
So when I was there, I was just blessed, but I was a project manager on 5.0. I was one of the few females in the event department. There were literally 2 of us that had any title. So I think it's changed, but in those days it was different, we call it the good old boys network. I'm giving you all the dirt. Whoa, girl. Whoa, girl. But, you roll with the punches. But yeah, my feelings would get hurt. And, but I got other recognition from other people in there, that were my contemporaries. And again, Tom Williams, who was the king of Universal, they all were wonderful to me. So I had to just let go and realize, perhaps these people needed something I didn't understand. So I just said, okay, guys, let me go on to something else.
I assume things will be slightly different now, Julie, because obviously at the time, as you said, they were sort of shipping things out to other companies, and they still do to a certain extent, but now they've got their own in-house creative team. I assume things will be slightly different now.
Oh, it's huge. It's monstrous. I mean, where one time they were still headquartered in LA for Universal Creative, which is what planning and development was, they all moved it, it came to Florida. Mark Woodbury, who was one of the original architects on Florida, I believe may still be the creative god over there, but it changed dramatically because as this place grew, as Islands of Adventure came in, and as they realized, Halloween Horror Nights was the most successful event in the history of Universal Studios, even when we had it. So I think what happened now, it's huge. They've got these guys working on writing the attractions. Jason Sorrell's over there. They are different than we were, but they're much more heavily staffed. We were lean and mean, basically. Mm-hmm. So, and it changes. Life changes, people change. Some of the folks that I worked with are still there. But yeah, I mean, it's going to change. It's huge now. You know, Universal is huge. You got all that. So yeah, they've changed dramatically, and I think they'd have to basically to keep up there. And I mean, they have their own buildings and all the good stuff. They have all that now. Not exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're down the street a little bit. So yeah, that's growth. I mean, that's what happened. And I believe in tight teams. I really do. So we were different, and I don't personally, if you look at something transplanted from Hollywood, like what's the cool ride over there, the Transformers, that one, it came from LA. So those are easy to put together. I don't know what they're thinking with some of the new attractions. I have to believe they have a totally different team over there. I know they did with Islands of Adventure. Chris Stapleton went over there from us because he did have to kind of change some of the things they were putting in there. So I don't know any, except for Jason. I really don't know anybody over there. I mean, I think what I like to talk about is the good that built it, and that went all the way into Iowa. I think if we were the pioneers, and I think that what was done was pretty amazing. And I think I know the people that worked on it, all moved into other places. I did too. And I think that really credits what we did. And everybody was nice to each other. There was a great deal of respect, and we all have remained friends. So, and we didn't have competition for, I'm going to do this. I mean, when I did Halloween, nobody came in and said, wow, somebody else took credit. Nobody took credit for it. So, I was grateful. I worked on the original things were the Animal Actor stage, Alfred Hitchcock, The Art of Making Movies, and Murder, She Wrote post-production.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yes. Great, beautiful things. And they changed. Everything has to be a ride. And everything's a ride. They just got rid of some of the things that, I don't know. I think they wanted to make it more theme parky, but I don't know if you've been to Hitchcock or at Hitchcock. Beautiful and amazing attraction.
That's one of my... I don't know whether regret's the right word.
No,
but it's the one thing I wish I'd caught. We were too late to the party.
Because it's one of yours favourites, isn't it, Darren?
Oh yeah, that was like when I think back to the first time I went in '93. That's the attraction that stuck in my head. And I was a Ghostbusters fanatic when I was a kid. But I remember Alfred Hitchcock, and I'm going home and I'm asking my parents to watch Alfred Hitchcock movies. At 10 years old, and they're like, and it really
You're insane.
Yeah.
Christopher Stapleton was the art director on that. He still works in theme park land. And again, Susan Lustig was the producer. She's who I worked for on all those shows. And the attention to detail that they put in there. We called Stapleton Sparky because he has red hair. But, everything they did was the carousel, the whole, everything they did was brilliant. And they everybody came up from the original Hitchcock art directors and such. They all came to our office, and talked about Hitchcock. These are guys that knew him then because he's part of the old Universal. So, and everybody, the people that came in to do the video, Shirley MacLaine, they were amazing. So I think it was beautifully put together. And we literally watched every Alfred Hitchcock movie ever made.
Oh, well, there's a job.
Yeah. And then
that's your job.
It was great. They gave us a special screening of Dial M for Murder that was, hadn't been seen in 5 million years, one of the original prints. So, you're looking at the creative from the people that knew Alfred Hitchcock, his art directors. How do you not find that amazing? So, and it was, they refilmed that bird segment, and that was done by the gentleman, Gary Giroux, who did Animal Actors. I mean, I think absolutely beautiful, and Susan Lustig, unbelievable, amazing producer. So I think that she puts together this really tight team, and I believe that's why it all worked. But just attention to detail like you don't see, and I wish they would have kept it. I think it was an amazing tribute to him, but also this is how we used to make movies.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
It's
one of those things where kids nowadays just take everything for granted.
Yes, they do.
And they need to be shown how things were to appreciate what they've got.
And why not, learn about these icons,
Absolutely.
I mean, they everything was researched to the fact that Alfred Hitchcock would hoard toilet paper.
Wow.
I mean, he poured toilet paper. Of course, he was in love with the Hitchcock blondes, and he started getting these stories from people that knew him. And, interesting character, shall we say, but he was also brilliant. And that was what I loved with the stories, because they all told us things. And I loved it. We watched every episode of Murder, She Wrote as well.
Oh, yes.
Every episode of Murder, She Wrote, we literally, between two of us, watched it all. So it was pretty amazing. We sit there for days.
Yeah.
Days and days we're watching all. And how cool a job is that?
Here's a question for you then. When watching all those
Sure.
episodes of Murder, She Wrote, did you get to a point where you were solving all the murders before she did?
I still do when I watch it on TV. And you're looking at Angela Lansbury, complete cooperation. Her husband is part of her team. Complete. We were looking to do a scene where we could do that whole Black Pearl thing, finding an actor that had been in there or someone new to put in there that she was handing the Black Pearl to. And of course, eventually it went to Tom Selleck. But I don't know. We were just trying to gain everything we could about him. And every episode you can think of, which is a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Wow. Now, many of the projects you've worked on have sadly gone to the Great Theme Park in the Sky.
Yes, they have.
Yeah. Now,
There's only E.T. left really at this
there
point.
is, I think.
And horror makeup.
Yeah. Oh, I love horror makeup.
Yeah.
Thank God they left that.
Us too.
Yeah. That was just I still laugh at horror makeup. I love that show.
Yeah,
Really
us
do.
too.
So great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was like Peter, again, had everybody in the office. So, Rick Baker would come in, everybody. Danny Aykroyd would come in, Wolfgang Puck would come in, the heads of Universal, because our world was the hub. So I used to sit there with my mouth open sometimes.
Wow.
Yeah. They'd walk by the desk and I was just like, I'd say to my other lady sat next to me, I'd say, "Did you see Bill Murray come in there?" She said, "That was Bill Murray, right?" And he was like yelling down the hall to Dan Aykroyd. He goes, "Hey, Danny." And I was like, "Oh, it's cool stuff."
Oh, wow.
You would have loved it. Y'all would have gone crazy.
Yeah.
I bet.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
It was a gift for me.
To put it mildly.
Yes.
So if you could bring back just one of these retired projects, which one would you bring back?
I wouldn't do I'd bring back the Wild West stunt show.
Interesting.
That was a fun show, very entertaining, and that was different. They had horses and cowboys, but I liked that ran in Hollywood for like a million years. So, and I have to say it though, to be honest with you, the amazing Back to the Future. There's, they changed it into The Simpsons, and I know it got to be whatever, but we love that. We used to go, when we get upset about something in our trailer, we'd go ride Back to the Future.
Cool.
I'm with you there. Oh.
But
when I have a bad day at work, I wish I could just go right back.
that's what we did.
If you have a good day at work, you wish you could ride Back to the Future again.
I just want to ride Back to the Future.
That's what we used to do. We just go over there, we get in the back way, and we just ride Back to the Future and scream. And, why I liked West, though, it was a live show with real stunts in there and very entertaining. It had horses. And, of course, that was the best venue for Bill and Ted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a thing. But, they put that dumb fear factor in there. God bless America and all she stands for, which I think is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. And I don't know if they're going to we all still call it West. I don't know if they're going to tear that down for, I don't know what, but.
There have been rumours about that fear factor stage for years, and still, it's still there. It's still ticking along. So who knows?
It just was. That was built for the West show. You know what I'm saying? All the facades and and you don't get to see all the great things that used to be in there. It was a great stunt show, and so I don't know if it worked in Hollywood for so many years. I don't know why it didn't work here, in their opinion. But again, I think they were trying to move into, I don't know what planet, trying to probably push attendance with something like Fear Factor that was newer. But I don't know. That's just my opinion.
So we didn't see the Orlando Wild West stunt show.
No,
I'm
wouldn't
going
have.
back a few years. I can't remember how long. Lee and I ended up in
1998.
1998. Wow, we that old. We holidayed in Spain, and we were in Salou, and we ended up at the Universal.
Well, it was
Portaventura there, and
which
they
was
had
owned
their
by
version,
Universal at the time.
and they had their version of the Wild
West
West. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, the Wild Wild West Stunt Show. And it was really cool.
Apart from it being in Spanish, which we didn't speak very much of,
No.
like none. It was really good. So I can only imagine it was bigger and better.
It was just good. And when they opened it, and again, this is Americana, they brought in all those old, they're not old, but all the cowboys. They used to do all the cowboy movies. And they brought all those guys in, which was fabulous, you know, and that's how they opened it. And it was so popular. And when Bill and Ted moved in there, of course, perfect venue, enough seating, you know, in the first all the Bill and Ted, we used everything that was there. So I don't know, you know, I would never understand sometimes why they do what they do. But again, I'm not the gods of that place anymore.
No.
So, but I did like the show. I got to be honest with you. I thought it was fun and very entertaining, but I don't know. What do I know? They took and built all the hotels in back of there. And so in the early days, there was the Hitchcock house was there, right? And there was a little road went in back, but it was all green, I'll call it pasture land. And so that's where the horses lived, as well as the horses. We had one horse and animal actors. So it was a totally different landscape in that day. Yeah, totally different. So when you were watching West in the beginning, you just saw green, you know, there was none of
cool.
Then they took over all that land and, you know, converted into what they needed for the hotels.
Yeah. So you had two roles, being project coordinator and writer, which are pretty far on the other, you know, ends of the spectrum, I'd say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. So which did you prefer?
Producer. No, I mean, the producer. Yeah. I mean, I like being a project manager. I had 5-0. I had creative on Barney too, but I like being the producer because, especially, you got to remember, in those days, you could hire who you wanted and you could make sure it was what you wanted. Project manager is the hard job because you have to make sure they build it on time. You know, they put in the right electrical, they don't kill anybody, and paperwork, you know, a lot of that, which again, I learned that very well. I was project manager on the first Fright Nights. But once I got to, you know, there was nobody else there, I guess, to do it. Once I got to move into the other realm, I really loved it because I was with, you know, all these great creative people, and we were just coming up with ideas, and it was really awesome.
Interesting. I'm surprised. I think you find most people who are writers really, really enjoy the writing process of coming up with the stories for stuff, and that's quite a surprise, actually. I expected you to go with that.
Well, I did, you know, what I did would come up with original concepts. But after a while, I started hiring writers. So I would tell them, hey, this is what it is, beginning, middle, ed, would you write it? Which made my life easier. Then I could critique it. But, you know, at those days, they'd call me all kinds of things. You know, what would you do for the nighttime spectacular? What would you do for this? And it was like, I've got to hire people that are better than me, that I can, much better, you know, and have them write it and I'll tell them exactly what we want in there. But you know, there's some people that's all they want to do. And I had a lot of hats to wear. So I found it a lot easier to say, boom, 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 this is what I want. And then I'd get the script. Unless it wasn't what I wanted, we'd send it back. But, you know, I had really good people who were really talented. So it was easier for me to do that.
Awesome. Cool. Right. Well, we're getting halfway through, and there is a subject we really need to talk about. So we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back to talk about Halloween Horror Nights.
Hey guys, Michelle and Robin here from Mouse Muggle Travel Company. Sorry to interrupt this awesome episode of the unofficial Universal Orlando podcast.
We promise not to bore you this time.
So, blah, 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 we sell vacation packages.
And blah, 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 we're experts on Universal and Disney destinations.
And blah, 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 our services are free to you.
But what you might not know, we're just a couple of super cool ladies who like to have fun and know all of the tips and tricks to make your vacation all you had dreamed it would be.
You can learn more about us at mousemuggle.com and fill out a quick quote request form while you're there.
Just be sure to let us know you heard about us from the UUOP. And remember, whether you're a mouse
or a muggle, Mouse and Muggle Travel Company can help make your next vacation simply magical.
So, welcome back, everyone. And as it is that time of year, we would be remiss to not talk to Julie about her work on Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes.
My child.
Yes. It's funny you should say that, Darren.
Yes, literally, because we were going to say we can literally call you the mother of Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, I am. They call me the Queen of Scream at one point, but
Yes, I love it.
isn't that great? No, it's great. It's fabulous.
And basically, you were the producer of the entire event from the very beginning, the inception.
Yep.
What was the intent behind creating Halloween Horror Nights, and do you believe it would ever become as massive as it is now?
Well, Fright Nights was Fright Nights was little, compared to this. And the people that worked on there, they gave their heart, soul, we practically lived at Universal. And Fright Nights was so successful. Some of the, the Dungeon of Terror was, still the scariest house for me. And some of the stuff we put in there, I'm sure safety would never allow again. But we had, they saw this huge amount of people coming through those gates, and they thought, I have it. Jay Stein smiled for the first time in his life. And, Jay always wanted to do this. So they had a bad experience in Hollywood. I tried one of these before. And so it was great. But then you're looking at a studio or call it theme park that was struggling at that point because of the bad opening. Right. You're looking at a place that, I forget what they told me, the gentleman upstairs, I call it the big house in finance, how many years it would take them to turn a profit, So, my story about being in a trailer and getting a phone call from Rich Gustalis was true. Same way I became a project manager on Fright Nights. I was walking between trailers and Tim Scipielli said, hey, would you do that? And I said, sure, I'd love to. And so I was literally, Rich Costello said, what would you do? They hadn't called it Halloween Horror Nights yet. What would you do for the next Fright Night? So I thought, I went to my little trailer and I just started putting it together. Watching again, I did watch horror movies day and night in there in my trailer. I watched every day. That's what I did. I sat in there in the light, not in the dark. Not in the dark. And I would watch Candyman, the bad movies, the good movies. So then that was my inspiration for haunted houses and crazy things like how did the chainsaw drill team come? You say, well, I always thought of, in the Army when they did that, hey, they march and do that. I thought, well, let's do a chainsaw drill team and have them do the same thing. And that's sort of how it came about. And, you have to come up with something. They're like the people under the stairs, we need greater capacity. So I had seen that movie and I knew we could build it. And that's what happened, So I literally turned in a piece of paper, a couple of pages to Rich. And the next thing I knew, a couple of weeks later, he said, okay, we're going forward. And I said, going forward? He goes, no, we're doing the whole thing. So I got on my little P&D phone and, brought in Tony Pugh, a great P&D guy, John Paul Gertz, everybody I knew that could put it together and make it work, which is, again, really talented people I had worked with. So, I don't know. But it was the team. It's why it was successful was the team. It wasn't an individual. It was just these great people working together and, try a very short amount of time to pull this thing off. And a very tight budget to pull it off too. So it was kind of like we went with God on that one. And I knew Fright Nights worked. So I knew Halloween was going to work. I don't think anybody in the beginning knew that it was going to go on, for a million years. But then again, you did know it was going to go on for a million years because it was very different. And so, that was the first time they gave me a name with creative was once Halloween Horror Nights came out was so successful. They're like, well, blah, blah, blah. And so I would spend all year working on Halloween as well as some other things that came my way like Barney and all that. So, it was a blessing. And it was, how can you tell somebody to sit in a trailer and create an entire event by yourself? Well, I did. So it was God. Wow. Yeah. Bill and Ted came to me because I'd seen that movie. I thought, what a great way, we can bring anybody in. We can use a Western stunt show because all the gigs are there. We can do this. And that was an easy one. So, and Jaws, still empty, God bless them. And so we said, John Paul and I, well, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. Let's use that cue line again and put in Dungeon of Terror 2. So some of it was just, we have to get this done. Like the people under the stairs, putting it in a soundstage also was great.
Oh, and that, incredible. And having the original sets to use.
Yeah, we had all kinds of things, Casper, when Casper behind the scenes with Casper was over there behind the scenes with this, behind the scenes with that. They let us have all that.
Cool.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So we started tearing that up. We used that stuff for 2 years, behind the scenes with the Flintstones. We used that literally for 2 years. So we were crazy people, but yeah. And it kept growing, And then my boss, who was then Michael Thine, he'd say, I want this thing called Robosaurus. And I'm sitting there, well, how much does Robosaurus cost? He said, it's only like $75,000, and I'm going to fall off my chair.
Yeah.
We're trying to put together all these different things. So we brought the man, the myth, the legend, which is Robo. And my famous story is, of course, we set the whole street on fire.
Oh.
Yeah, because there was gas left in one of the cars. And so the street caught on fire. And we had to call the Orlando Fire Department, who came in, lights blazing, and people said, the best show I ever saw. How did you get those people in there? But so some of my bosses wanted something specific, and sometimes I'd say to myself, well, this is not going to work, but I had to do what they wanted me to do. So we just kept coming up, and I hired, some designers who, yes, did work on the original Universal Studios Florida, and they started to do all the drawings for us and, what we really needed. I mean, the first year Dungeon of Terror, I think they just made it up as they went along. I do. Yeah, but anyway, it just started to be perfected more and more. The more money we received, then we could do the storyboards. We went to New Orleans, we went to all these different places to see, we went to Universal Hollywood to look at things. We got to see the Haunted Soundstage, which is now torn down, which is from the original Phantom of the Opera.
Cool.
So how can you not love this? So I did.
Definitely.
Wow.
Oh yeah, and those especially the chainsaw drill team you had mentioned really quick. I wanted to say that was urban legend to kids in Florida. Because I was in elementary school and middle school when that first started happening, and the stories would go around, and it was like, well, they actually have chainsaws there at Horror Nights, and they actually got somebody, and that's why they had to take the blades off of those things. Got somebody.
They would have killed somebody.
There were so many stories, and I'm sure you guys weren't telling anybody otherwise.
No, it was pretty safe. I mean, those guys, and I had to audition those guys, so. All those people, well, they were like, they'd come in jeans, torn jeans, and these shirts, and I thought, Lord help me, because these are the most beautiful men I've ever seen. And so they auditioned, and then Rob Anderson, who was one of the guys there, one of the people from the entertainment department, he got them their cadence and different things, and so I knew it was going to work because it was so different, and I loved the idea. And boy, they came down that street that first year, and man, they had people screaming from here to another planet. And it worked. I mean, it was different. So my thought was, let's do something different. We use chainsaws a lot, though, in the houses. And, I don't know how much money we must have spent at the Home Depot. But had to be. And those guys would come in, they were sexy, but they scared the hell out of people. But I love those. I love those guys. I mean, of course I love those guys. But it was just, it was great. And so little by little, you got to remember, somebody's asking me, what do you do? So I'm like, let me see. I'll do a coffin salesman. I'll do, a guy that swallows swords. I'll do a guy that lays down on the bed of nails. I'll do a guy that eats fire. We'll have the guys that are doing Robosaurus next year. Let's have a slide for life, it's called down there. So, and the characters, it was the same thing. It was like, I got to give them a name. So, characters, because that's what they are. They're actors. Yeah. They're scaring people. So that was, all of it just sort of came together, and we came up. Jerry Abercrombie started to come up with the most amazing costumes, and he did the Samhains, which was the, lady dressed in a gown with the head of a pig. I know it's attractive, but so it just grew and grew and grew. And the more money we had, we could train them. That's why we had Ghoul School. We trained the kids not to get killed. And then we had people that went out with them, because in the early days, we would have people try to punch them. And same in the haunted houses. So that's why we had to put up barriers in between, because people would jump on our folks and jump in there. And it was like, oh no. So we changed it a great deal, to where we had people in the rafters also that could watch what was going on.
Right. Chris, our other co-host, is currently at Universal Orlando experiencing Halloween Horror Nights.
Yes, we hate him.
Yes, we're not talking to him. He's asked us to ask a question.
Of course, whatever you want.
He said, since you were part of the event, since Fright Nights, was there ever a time when you thought they would have to pull the plug or discontinue the event due to low attendance, complications, copyright infringements, or anything else?
Never.
Good.
Never. Because I saw, again, it was the highest grossing event at that time, still is, of all, between Hollywood and us. So, they start to see this, and it was picked up, I'm sure it still is. I mean, Today's Show, we traveled all over the place for that thing.
Wow.
And it was just picked up because it was unique in those days. And, we'd go on the Today Show and do Katie Couric's makeup. And so it was picking up speed. And then once people started talking about it, because it was different, it's not a cookie cutter anything.
No.
I knew it was going to stay, because all the people, they loved Halloween Horror Nights. They liked to be scared. And I never, ever thought they would. No, I never thought they'd pull the plug on it. I never did. I knew it was going to stay there, and it became a signature event for them.
Yeah.
And when I was there, we went and pitched it to Pepsi, believe it or not, to get sponsorship. We used to, and that's a lot of the kids that were up in the front house too. But once that thing took off, it went it was a locomotive.
I mean, you look at it now, and it's this year, especially looking on the annual pass holder pages and stuff, it's crazy busy this year.
Oh yeah, it's nuts. But see, you have it's like a cult following, which is great. I mean, you have people that it's their highlight, and you're looking at, like I said, they got a team working on that. They have a bunch of folks working on that. I can't imagine their budget. I think ours was one year $500,000. And then we went up from there, and they got dojo, and they've got all these folks. So they're not dumb. I mean, you can imagine how much money you make, and who gets a piece of that ticket is Mr. Steven Spielberg himself.
Yes.
Yeah, he gets a part of every, as well as, I think Barney's leaving, but so did the Barney girls. They always got a part of the admission as well. That was part of their deal. But yeah. So, I mean, no, it's never going to go. Heck no, not in a million years.
No.
Good.
No.
It's interesting, since you were there, Julie, it's become, I wouldn't say entirely, but they started to rely a lot on outside IPs and stuff now. With this year, you have to look at like Stranger Things and Poltergeist and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But obviously still heavily looking into creating their own original houses, which I know we're all big fans of the original concepts this year.
Well, you have to pay those people.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'm going back to the original days. I mean, we did pay for Bill and Ted. We paid for the people under the stairs. We did that. But the bigger it gets, the more, more money you have, and the more other people want to be part of it. And so, I'm sure, I mean, they have money to do it. So, it promotes the franchise of what they're doing as far as the movie goes, and Universal. And look, you don't have to sit in a room and try to figure things out. You already know what this movie's about. Yeah. And so, you're given a script, sort of. So, I think it's fabulous. I mean, Poltergeist, that movie scared me. I still can't watch that movie. So, what a wealth of things to use, though. Yeah. So you're looking at these great properties, and, but they have clout. They have a lot more money, and I wouldn't doubt if it's a Universal product. I don't know they all are, but they tie all that in. When you see the actors come and anything from that, they tie it. They tell them you must go down there. So they're very smart, very, very smart, because the names of what they bring people in.
This is true. Yeah, but back in your day, Julie, did you ever try and, how do I put this? Did you ever try and create your own versions of some of those recognizable characters to try and get round copyright infringements at all?
Oh heck, we were in so much trouble. I love the legal people, and there was a man whose name was Tony Sauber, And I always knew when Tony Sauber was on the phone, and he'd call me up and he'd say, Julie, this is Tony Sauber. I knew we were in trouble. So, yeah, we got in trouble. Oh, sure. I mean, we got in trouble for the Terminator. We got in trouble for Freddy Krueger. And my favorite character was the world famous Reagan from The Exorcist. Which,
Awesome.
Oh, my God. We had a bed, right? And she was tied in a bed. And there was a priest who was rolling her around the theme park, and it was so good, and she was so good. Oh my God, they got a cease and stop order on that so fast. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they were like, you can't do this. So that's when also the legal team was like, y'all got to stop, But oh yeah, we were always getting in trouble for something because you could put it out there, and we didn't tell them all what we were doing. I didn't call Tony Sauber and say, hey, we're doing this. No, and so yeah, we got in trouble. Some of them, I mean, they eventually bought the rights to, but oh no, I mean, there was stuff going down there all the time. And the legal people did what they can, but if someone tells you, like I said, the Terminator dude was in Bill and Ted, we fixed it, and he fixed it. And some of them, like the Exorcist folks, oh, you can't fix that because it's, certain studios are going to work with Universal and certain aren't. So. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's we used to get the guys that are the night people at Universal because we'd be there 24 hours a day. We were always getting in trouble for driving too fast. We had golf carts or something. So my boss would say to me the next day, "Well, they called again. It seems y'all were driving too fast and sort of reckless down there. So we just want you to clean it up." So that's what we did, but. We were renegades. I mean, people were sleeping in trailers, and then there was a whole group of pyro guys, and they used to sleep in part of the Lagoon Show area. They literally they built like their own clubhouse down there. Cool. And yeah, they lived there. So, I mean, it's a crazy, crazy time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And you kindly gave us your brief memories of Bill and Ted's Excellent Halloween Adventure back on our tribute show. Yes. Yeah. But how much did that Horror Night staple mean to you?
Well, I loved it. I mean, the thing was, again, remember, I'm pitching this stuff to them, and I'm like, I had seen the movie, and I thought it was perfect. But the first time I knew something was amazing was the employee preview. And that thing, the employees were on their feet. It was just, and Rich Costalis came up to me, the famous Rich Costalis. He goes, Julie Zimmerman, you gave us Bill and Ted. Where are you going to go now? And I said, I'm going to Walt Disney World. And he looked at me and he said, they'd never take you. So I think it was an icon. You could do a lot with it. The OJ year. Oh my God. I mean. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean. It ran for a long time. It was a favorite of so many people. God knows what they're going to do now. I mean, I don't know. I just wonder if they took it away because there's supposed to be a new movie. I'm not sure. Yeah. Yeah. But there's that whole group of people, Save Bill and Ted, and
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it's the craziest thing that this year is the 80s theme, quote unquote, year that they're doing at Horror Nights this year, and this is the first year without Bill and Ted.
Those boys, they were. I mean, that movie had its own following, but that. Mm-hmm. Show was, usually popular, and every year it was different. We pulled out all the stops. Yeah. So, when they first were doing the OJ one, I said, I don't know about this. And then they said, but we found the Bronco, and we found an OJ lookalike, and I said, okay. But I mean, I love those boys. It's something after my heart because it was. Sort of like when you kind of do something and you're not sure if they're going to think you're crazy or whatever. And then you see this magnificent kind of fun show. I mean, the ending with, whoever we're bringing out the end, it's just a good time. And so I'll always love those boys, and it was fun. Maybe they just think it was too old, but I don't know anybody that didn't like Bill and Ted even up to the end.
Because it's that thing that the characters themselves are rooted in the 80s, but then you could bring any modern pop culture reference into it that you wanted to.
We brought in anybody we wanted, so they say we'll try to tie in Waterworld, and I thought, what the heck am I going to tie in Waterworld? Which was a bomb anyway, so I think we had them show up, but yeah, we picked on, people that were in the news and anybody we wanted. I mean, we quickly realized that's what they liked. It was more of topical things that were happening in the news. And of course, we could bring anybody out of that phone booth. And so it's perfect. It's perfect. So every year, whatever you're doing, you can just say, okay, I'm going to take this event, that event. This is what happened in the news, pop culture, and you're going to put it in a show. People love it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the 80s, take away that. But what are you going to do? I mean, who are you going to call at this point? Well, you got the dog in there.
Yeah. Sorry.
Puppet.
When I make her appearance.
Well, it is, when you look that everything at Halloween Horror Nights changes every year. The scare zones are different.
Right.
The houses are different.
Sure.
That was the one thing that you knew. That little comfort blanket was there every
Even though
year.
it was a different show every year.
Yeah.
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 It was,
No,
it was
I mean,
constant.
I don't know what, again, I can't, they changed the park so much though.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to remember in the beginning, again, there was that whole, when Earthquake was there, that was whole Amity area. And the same thing, I know Nazerman's, where we went in to do the show that we were down there, which was based on the mole people of New York. I don't, what can I say? I mean, it's like I found this facade. I knew the facade could go into, but they have to change what they're doing. They change it up because somebody else wants to do what they want to do, and that place changes, with different attractions and different things. So I think that's basically spice it up. But I do believe people do go back for their favorites, like you said. I would too. Why do you go if you're going to Disney World, let me say that word, which is going to whatever, but why do people go back and ride those stupid teacups?
Yeah.
I mean, and why do people go, to things that have been there, and people come there, a few times a year. So I just think they're trying to stay in the most innovative thing they can because they want to keep going. And you do have the other attractions, but that would be my guess. And every year you're going to try something different.
Yeah.
I mean, we had people on deer stands on Hollywood Boulevard one year, and they were the monsters and ghouls hanging off. So when you walked in there, these people are hanging up there, and it was funky funk. Thunderdome was funky funk, but it changes, and they probably have, I don't know how many scare actors this year. I couldn't even tell you. So they're going to change. They're going to change for good or for worse. And as it gets bigger and bigger, you're going to have more hands in the pot. And, that's what's happening. I don't know if they go to drink at Finnegan's like we used to, but we did.
I think the sad thing now is as well, when you look that Universal fans are becoming as vocal as those nostalgic Disney fans now. So you've got those people who've been going to the parks from the first sort of 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Those people who have the nostalgia for Confrontation and Jaws and stuff, and it's becoming that they're becoming more vocal. Yet the stuff that they grew up with isn't there anymore, and it is sad.
Yeah.
Well, I loved Jaws once it worked. I mean, because it was hokey and funky, but the guys that, and gals that drove the boat made it funny.
Yes.
And I loved riding that at night. And I thought Kong was brilliant. Banana breath, the thing went down. I mean, maybe it didn't have the greatest capacity, but you're looking how well the queue line was done.
Yeah.
And, and I loved it. And of course, they had to put in a roller coaster, God bless them, and I still would say I love Kong. If they tear down ET, then I'm just going to lay down in the middle of I Drive. Because, I still ride ET, and my daughter does. It's like the horror makeup show. Thank God they kept it, because we go. I understand some of it has to change, but you're getting down to, and bless them, there's nothing about movie making anymore.
No, not at all.
No, it's something I complain about.
Yeah, it's all it's all a ride park. So how do you call it anything but? And the sound stages are not used because Florida didn't do the tax breaks people can to film here. So I mean, I don't know why people don't. I mean, they're tearing everything down over there. They're getting rid of Barney. I think they got rid of Fievel's Playland. I don't know some days, but again, their thoughts are different than mine, probably.
Then you look at Universal Studios Hollywood, that they're going down that route a little bit now as well, that they're starting to make that into more of a fully fledged theme park than what it was.
Yep. Well, they start to, I don't know. Now, the best studio tour is Warner Brothers. If you ever go to Hollywood and you want to go on a real, oh my God, I'm on a real movie studio, you got to go to Warner Brothers, because they put you in a golf cart, very small groups, and they take you, they'll take you on the set of whatever they're filming. And yeah, they'll take you down the streets where, you can see different things, but they take you into some of their real areas. And so I loved that tour. That was amazing. Universal's was sort of, whatever, but bless them. But it used to be, when they had the tram, which was better, they drive by the lower lot, which is where you filmed everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so in those days, you could see people that were doing TV. But I don't know. I can't explain it. Maybe they're just trying to get more money in there, and they think everybody wants to ride a roller coaster. I don't know. Does everybody want to ride a roller coaster? I don't know. But they're getting into, God forbid they become Knott's Berry Farm. I mean, Cedar Point, where I grew up, is known for roller coasters.
Yes.
That's a real theme park. So I can't tell you where they're eventually going to go. It's hard to say. Very few things shoot over there. Remember when Nickelodeon was there, and but it's changing, and I really have no idea what their thoughts are. I have no clue. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, finally.
Yes, my darling.
I can't believe we're saying finally already.
I know.
I feel we'll have to do this again, Julie, at some point. I feel there's a lot more stories we haven't dug into.
Oh, I've got dirt. Dirt that goes back to, but it's great. It's so much fun to tell people.
Absolutely.
When we were there on the mud, as I call it, the stories I saw are really priceless. So if you really love Universal, if you love, Halloween, it's great to talk to one of us that have been there.
Yeah, definitely. Because with Disney, you've got people that were documenting it the whole time, and historians, and you've got documentaries that they do about it and that kind of thing. And you just don't get that with Universal, and that's really what we want to put out there.
No, they don't. I have some pictures of the original facades and different things, but no, they don't they don't do that. They don't tell you the making of, or if they did, it was false. We did have in the old days, we did get the props from Jurassic Park and all those, and those are real things behind the scenes of, the Jeeps over there and all that are the same. But you don't see that happening much anymore either. So I guess they thought people aren't interested. There used to be a whole boneyard, which was all these things they brought from Hollywood that were used in movies. And I guess they just decided, let's just be a ride park. And I still think, as you do too, there is a part of people that would still dig movie making.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
definitely.
You've got empty things over there, and, they're spending millions on other things. Bless them. Let's bless them again. But I swear, let's all bless them, But, why don't you dedicate something to Steven Spielberg? Mean, they were doing movie magic I worked on in Japan, but I did the creative on some of that. But I don't think, I don't know. They just kind of lost it when Earthquake went, which was more or less, we'll show you how we do it. That was it for them. So I don't know what they're going to show us now. The making of I don't know. I have no clue.
No.
The making of a roller coaster. Ooh.
Pretty much.
So, Queen of Scream.
Yes, my love.
And Mama of Horror.
That's it.
I'll add that one in.
I do too.
Out of all of the Halloween Horror Night houses, shows, and entertainment you've worked on, which is your favourite child and why?
Well, I guess, and I loved Robo. I loved once we accepted the fact that he was coming. Robo it's priceless, and getting all the junk for Robosaurus, and he showed up at the theme park, and he was in back of the New York Public Library because he folds down into a truck. And once they put that bad boy up, and the first time he starts doing the fire and doing everything, it's really cool. And I still have to tell you, I loved when he set the street on fire. So, my favorite things, I've shared this 100 times, the Dungeon of Terror, the first Dungeon of Terror, scariest attraction. We had the Creature of the Black Lagoon in water. We built the bridge. We had a guy in there, and so when you walked, he grabbed your ankle. It was stuff like that. So that was my favorite, because to me, you got to remember, probably breaking every law as far as safety and security. But those were the raw days when we didn't have to put up barriers to keep people out. And, I had a great career there. I loved doing crazy Barney parade, although we thought we'd kill ourselves because of the Barney people. But, you watch those kids going crazy, and how do you not think this is a cool job? So, yeah. But I did love, I would love the attractions I worked on, the first ones.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, they were, that's my fond memories are of that. And my fond memories are of the old school group. A lot of them went to IOA, and I think a lot of that has changed. But yeah, I loved my Bill and Ted, I loved my drill team. I loved, some of the goofy stuff we could put in there. And it was fun, making up the Midway of the Bazaar. I mean, as far as that goes, as far as Universal, I'm like you. I miss the original Back to the Future. I don't like The Simpsons, Even I liked Earthquake. So it's just the new ones, to me, like I said, unfortunately, with the exception of the Transformers, I am very disappointed in. So who am I?
That's what we say when we sit here calling everything, we like this, we don't like that. It's like, yeah, who are we?
I loved it there. I loved it. Best job anybody could ever have in the world. That was the best time of my life. And so, I have such a strong love for that place. And, I think there's part of my DNA is in that dirt. I'm sure.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, Julie, it's been an absolute blast to talk to you. It's
really
been so much
talking
fun.
To you. It's been so much fun talking to you. I'm so grateful that you called me because I love to tell these stories. And I like that you have this, you respect Halloween Horror Nights in a way not everybody does. So I appreciate that. And the largest motion picture television studio and parking garage. He used to say when he talked about it, he goes, I still remember this, you can see the parking structure from the space shuttle. People are like, are you out of your mind? He did. And we're all standing there going, what? Anyway.
Well, Julie, we will definitely have to schedule having you back on. There's no way we can end it at this.
I love sharing. You are wonderful people. I'm so grateful that you like Universal and that you like Halloween.
Awesome.
God bless America.
Cool.
Fabulous people. You've been fabulous.
Thank you.
so
And you
much.
have too.
Yes.
Very
My pleasure.
Well, I suppose that's going to
pleasure.
wrap up episode 320 of the Unofficial Universal
Wow,
Orlando
already.
podcast. So for Tracy,
God
Darren,
bless you.
and our illustrious guest, the mother of Halloween Horror Nights, it's Julie Zimmerman. We'll see you back here next week.
Cut, print. That's a wrap for another episode of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Never miss a show by subscribing on Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review while you're there. Not an Apple user? You can listen on Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, iHeartRadio, or your podcatcher of choice. Email us any questions or comments to podcast@uuopodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Instagram, and Pinterest. Just search UUO Podcast. Keep up with the latest news, rumors, and updates on our blog at uuopodcast.com. Thanks for listening. See you next week.